Hey, what's up? You're watching Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith. Aadila Dosani is here with us. You know her from Nancy Drew on the CW. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Listen, we're working from home. We got plenty of stuff to watch. I could check you out on the CW, Nancy Drew. What
Yeah.
has this whole experience been like for you so far?
Oh man, honestly, it's been rad. It's been so great. I mean, this show is spectacular. The people on it are so incredibly amazing, and it's been so welcoming. They've like definitely welcomed Praneet and I with open arms. And listen, like we get to play Bobsy twins, so how can it not how can it not be great? I feel like if I said it was bad, I shouldn't be working.
Exactly. I mean, that's a pretty sweet role. It's an
Yeah.
awesome show. And you mentioned you're playing one half of a really interesting pair of twins. So, what is most fascinating to you just about the role in general?
Oh man. I mean, listen, I gotta say, like playing a twin has been pretty wild that I feel like that's been the most fascinating thing for me. Cause like, like as actors, we get to like, you're always in like romantic relationships or like deep rooted friendships, but getting that twinning energy is like none other. And I feel like you have to be on definitely the same page as your twin at most times. You know what I mean? It's that
Mhm.
innate connection that you can't really fabricate. And so to be honest, I feel like that's been the most wonderful and the most fascinating, mainly because Praneet and I, we clicked like this instantly. And so it's been wild exploring that with him. We deal a lot with codependency issues, and I say often I'm very codependent on him now in real life, whether he likes it or not. It's fine. It's
I mean,
fine.
it's just an extension from the show to real life. I mean, that's just the expectation of being a twin at this point.
Totally, right? I feel so bad for him because I'm always blowing up his phone and he's always like, yo, girl, sis, you need to chill. And I'm like, I
Like,
don't know
let's
how
just
to
calm
do
down a
that.
little
I'm crazy. Deal with it.
bit. Yeah, I mean, whether it's codependency or even just the reaction from fans, like there's a lot going on here. I mean, the CW shows on their own have these really passionate fan bases. So, what's been like engaging with them for this show specifically?
It's been really cool. It's actually been really awesome to see that how much of a cult following this show has. Like you know that going in, and then until you're really in it and you kind of see people watching and commenting lifetime, you're just like, oh, that's when you really realize that like there's so many humans invested in it. And it kind of makes like my job so much better because you know that like you're touching some people
Yeah.
in either which way. So it's been wild. The comments have been hilarious because as you may or may not have seen, Ace and Amanda may have something going on, and so that's actually been quite funny to see those comments because I feel like people really want Ace and Nancy to end up together, and so I'm just like, I'm sorry, I didn't write this. Don't hate on me.
Well, especially because you know some stuff, people are waiting to find out some stuff. So, it must be interesting for you to actually see people commenting and be like, oh, you're kind of onto something, but I can't really tell you here.
It's so true, right? And then you have to find the sneaky ways to kind of respond back. And man, I'm just like, I feel like I'm way too good at spilling the tea. So that's been really tough. I have no filter. So I've been learning because I've
Yeah, you
been
gotta you
getting
gotta rein
slapped
that in a
over it.
little bit, right?
You totally do. And I'm like, right, mystery. People like that. Whereas I'm like, oh, take it.
Right, you just want people to know. You throw some emojis in there, some little winky faces. You give people the idea of what's to come.
Exactly. The winky faces, man, they have never come so in handy as they have now. I'm like, yes.
I like it. So I think another important thing you mentioned is just having the runway to have a complex character. Like as you first get going, you're playing the friend, you're in that romantic relationship. But this is a role where you could really do some more stuff. So what does it mean to you to have that runway to really explore some deeper emotional stuff here?
Oh man, it means the world to me. And like, especially in terms of like, like, and I know a lot of people are saying this, but I feel like it really rings true to me. Like for representation, I mean, the Bobbsey twins in the source material are two sets of affluent Caucasian twins,
Mhm.
and Praneet and I get to like live in this world and just be plopped in it without any sort of rhyme, reason, or explanation. And I think because we've been given that permission to kind of get creative with our characters. It's been such a wild ride because we get to explore so many more things. Like it's not just like we're not just completely recreating someone from source material and staying true to that. We get to kind of have our own flair on it. And I feel like that and really being able to explore our backgrounds in it has been so great just because it's different, right? You grow up differently, you use your life experiences to bring something to a role, and then it kind of creates itself in like a more approachable way for me, or maybe people like me. And so I feel like that has been really freaking cool.
I mean, it's incredible
Yeah.
when you think about it because people of all ages will see you doing this role and realize that anybody can be in this role, right? Whereas, like, we're growing up and there was not the same representation. And it's super important to acknowledge that, like, yes, there
Yeah.
is still a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done, but this is a big moment here for characters that were previously white. They are no longer white. And I think that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, I think so too. And that in itself, I feel like has been just such an incredible win. But I mean, listen, like these characters stir up a lot of jazz. So that in itself, who doesn't want to play like a jazz disturber?
They're up to something, that's for
They're
sure.
up to something, you know what I mean? And you just never know where they're gonna go, which I love because there's always something left unsaid with these two, which I feel like is the juiciest part of them, right? Like they're trying to
Yes.
figure it out as well. And so it's been awesome exploring it that way as well.
That's really cool to hear. I'd love to hear more about your journey as an actor because, as you know, you have to do all these different things. It's a long and winding path. What would you say has been the biggest surprise just in terms of your journey so far?
Oh man, the biggest surprise. Hmm. Honestly, I feel like the biggest surprise for me has been the biggest wins have come out of like the least expected places. I know that sounds cliche, but I feel like
Oh,
you
it's true.
only
Yeah.
it's true, right? And like you only really realize it until you truly live it, where like I don't know, I used to be so caught up in my journey about like listen, like you want to say yes to everything and then you don't and then you try you get on this path where you like pick and choose because you want to like bring things to life that ring true to you that you have some sort of truth in. And I found the biggest surprise, the most rewarding characters I've played are ones that are completely opposite me, where I have there's like no sort of connection or relation, and then you get plopped in a world that's like so foreign, but because you're learning through it and experiencing it for the first time through that character, I feel like that's where like the magic really happens, like that genuine magic happens. And I feel like it only comes from you saying yes to everything you can say yes to. You know, I feel like we all get caught up in the commerce of it. And I hate to say that, but it's like, oh, a network show. Yeah, we want to be on that. Do
Yep.
you choose an indie or the network show? And we always go, even if it's like a co star role, you go with the network because you're like, you
Right.
think it's going to get more views and be better for your career, but it's not. And I had to learn that the hard way. And when I started saying yes back to like just really dope independent projects, I feel like that's where the magic really started happening for me. So, does that make sense?
It makes complete sense because there are some really cool things happening in these indie projects, but the money's not always there, right?
No.
And you do a network show and you know the eyeballs are going to be there, you know the money's going to be there, and you're just trying to build out your career, but you kind of have to straddle both worlds. And I think you kind of hit that on the head right there.
Yeah, you totally do. And like it's you get to a place where you know like you got to pay your bills, but we all started off wanting to do this because we just wanted to tell a story. No one ever got into this for the money.
Right.
I mean, if you did and you're winning, you're freaking lucky, but like it took all of us years to be able to
Mhm.
pay our bills solely on acting. All of it I had like 5 jobs, you
Mm.
know.
What were some of those jobs?
Oh. Okay, well, obviously I was a waitress, but I
Okay,
sucked. I was
check.
always in the weeds as I was told. And I
Mm.
didn't understand what that meant until like way later on. I thought it was cute. I'm like, oh, they like me. No,
You're like, no, it's a little bit different than that.
it's a little bit different than that. I was not good.
Mm.
I was like a research assistant. I've been a babysitter, like nannying. Oh man, like everything. I've like worked as a cleaning lady.
You just have to do whatever it takes, right?
You got to do
Just
whatever
any
it
way to
takes
pay your bills and make money. Like that's just the life
anyway.
we live.
Honestly, storing stuff, like storing things in warehouses in the middle of the night so you can have your days free to
Yeah.
audition and do stuff. That was a wild job. I got ripped though. So sometimes I'm like finding it real hard to work out these days. I'm like, maybe I should go back to that because it's like,
Pick up some hours to just get the body right back in shape.
honestly, it's like you get paid to train. I was like, yo, my arms are on fire. Like it was awesome. I gotta
All
say.
those experiences make us who we are, and it's really cool to see your success. And it's really nice to meet you, Adila. Congrats on
Yeah,
everything. Thanks so much for jumping on, and best luck with everything going forward.
thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This was fun.